I'm here to see my
The
counselor.
line starts around the corner.
Ah, god damn it.
Now serving 34.
Shit, I'm 34.
Okay, kid. Sit down. You got 2 minutes. You mind if I finish this? It's been a long day.
No, please go ahead.
Okay, so what do you want to do with your future, kid?
I was thinking about doing a business degree.
No,
What do you mean, no?
that's too complicated. You know what you're gonna do? You're gonna have a nice, easy communications degree. That's the degree you can do something with.
No, I don't want to do a communications degree.
Tough titties. You're gonna do communications. You're gonna like it, capiche?
That's not fair, though.
Life's not fair, kid. Why should college be? Oh, I have there's an opening here. We need a late night host.
I'm not qualified to be a late night host.
We'll watch this.
How high are you right now?
You don't need to be qualified.
I just want to personally thank you so much for coming out here today and enlightening us with your wisdom.
Jesus Christ.
Wisdom. Steve.
Like I said, you don't need to be qualified. Now, you gonna take that communications degree? Well, I need you to leave soon because I got like 6,000 more kids out there waiting for their little art degrees and their little film degrees. So, I'm gonna have you make like a baby and head out.
So my 2 minutes are up?
Yeah, your 2 minutes are up.
Okay.
Communication skills ain't that good for a communications major. Don't even know when I want you to leave. Come on. You're a college-educated student. Now let me eat my lasagna with peace.
Mom, I'm a communications major now. Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode of Late Night Long Beach. I'm Victor Wright and let's dive into tonight's topic, the CSU Tuition Increase, otherwise known as paying target prices for Walmart quality. That's right, we'll be talking about the newest tuition increase. If you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, well then buckle up because you're gonna be as disappointed as your dad is in you. But first, let's talk about who voted on this. Well, it's none other than the California State University Board of Trustees. The Board of Trustees is composed of 25 members, 24 voting and 1 non-voting. There are 5 ex officio members on the Board of Trustees: the governor, the lieutenant governor, Speaker of the Assembly, State Superintendent of Public Instruction, and the chancellor. This isn't all the members, but it's a lot like the mayonnaise shelf at the supermarket. Once you've seen one, you've seen it all, even if one of them has a hint of olive oil in it. Then the governor appoints 2 student trustees where one of the students has voting power while the other does not and waits till the other student term is over so they can take their position. There's 23 higher-ups and state administrators deciding what's happening to your education and only 1 student representing all the students in the CSU system. If you don't see why this is a problem, think of it this way. You're the cameraman for a porn shoot. You're literally watching hundreds of thousands of students getting fucked by old white men. Now that you know a bit about who voted on what, I think it's time to talk about their latest vote that affects all of us, the tuition increase. The CSU Chancellor Timothy P. White has proposed an increase of about 5%, which means for undergrads up to a $270 increase. The reason for the tuition increase is that the state support per student for the CSU has declined while enrollment demands have dramatically increased. As more students enroll to Cal State, there has been a growing need for more faculty and classes. Although they state that's the reason for the increase, they are still pushing the Graduation Initiative 2025, which promises to double its four-year graduation rate from 19% to 40% by 2025. This initiative is the unspoken sole reason they are increasing the tuition in the first place. That's not all. The Graduation Initiative also plans to add 100,000 more people with a bachelor's degree and expects more than 1 million CSU graduates by 2025. But like your alcoholic dad planning to take you hunting, this ambitious idea has major flaws. In this email, Chancellor Timothy P. White stated that a tuition increase is a painful step that I hope with your assistance we can avoid. Yet in the same email, he says at the same time we are committed to the goals of Graduation Initiative 2025. So he's saying he doesn't want to hurt us, but he's still gonna go ahead and hurt us. That's like your drug dealer, Uncle Coke Dick, telling you that he has your best interest in mind, but he's still selling you things that will eventually land you in a public library frothing at the mouth after shoving a heroin needle in your penis. Now, before we go any further into our episode, it's time for our interview segment. Our guest tonight is a faculty member at CSULB's Department of Political Science and Chicano and Latina Studies, and teaches topics such as racial and ethnic politics in the U.S. and comparative political movements. Please welcome Dr. Alfredo Carlos. How are you tonight?
Doing pretty good.
Good. So, from your perspective, what's your opinion on the tuition increase?
I think the tuition increases are extravagant, to be honest with you. I've been fighting tuition increases since I was a student in 1998, and the amount of sort of public education, the amount the students pay for public education is just it's difficult for students to pay that amount, especially when they're working class students like most CSU students are.
Right. So we just got word like a few hours ago that the tuition increase passed.
Yeah.
Now that it's passed, is there anything that we can do to reverse it, to fight it?
It's really important for people to actually contact their representatives so that they hear from them. One of the things that happened this morning is there was a lot of students there, but not enough to really sway the people inside making the decision. And so it's important for students to actually become active and get involved.
Is there any relationship between the Board of Trustees and faculty members?
So there is a couple of academic senate, the statewide academic senate for the CSU sit on the Board of Trustees, but it's only like one or two of them. The majority of the people on the Board of Trustees are actually selected by the governor. And a lot of them actually have sort of outside interests besides the CSU. I am sort of becoming familiar. I've only been teaching for the CSU for maybe 4 years now. I spent most of my time as a student fighting tuition increases in the UC system, and in that system there was developers were part of the UC the regents, that's what they're called, and so for instance the president or the chair of the Board of Trustees, she's someone who spends her day job fighting against workers. Essentially, she represents employers in sort of law cases that involve sort of workers' rights sort of issues, when employers sort of violate labor laws. So these are folks that might not necessarily have their main interest be in sort of student success. It's definitely not focused on sort of, what are the best ways we can get students out fast without it also coming out of their own pocket.
Okay, cool. You touched on a couple things, so I'm going to ask just a couple more questions. Yeah. You mentioned privatization. Is there any relationship between the Board of Trustees and any sort of corporations?
So I have to do a little bit more research in the sense that a lot of these folks sit on different committees and different boards of directors. And just sort of a cursory look over, and all this stuff is sort of available online, a cursory look over some of them, and they do have sort of connections and ties to sort of corporate networks. For instance, and again, a lot of my experience actually comes as formerly being a student. I remember that when we were fighting tuition increases when I was at UC Irvine, one of the people that sat on the board of directors for that system was actually Vice President of the Bank of America. And Bank of America obviously has a lot to gain from student loans. So there is a connection. And it's unfortunate that students are actually underrepresented on the board. There is 2 seats that go to students, but they're non-voting seats. And one of the things I think we need to start having conversations about is how do we democratize this body that's making decisions on basically money that's being paid for by students. So it's sort of, you're being taxed without any representation. And I think it's important for you to have it.
Thank you for coming on.
Of course, thank you.
Coming on, I got you a little gift.
Awesome.
They're Kellogg's Fruity Snacks.
Awesome.
So there you go.
Thank you.
Embarrassing thing I have to tell you. I got that from my house without asking my parents. So, like, when the cameras are off, I'm gonna need it back.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, cool.
I'll give you the wrapper and you can take that back.
Thank you, perfect. So, thank you for your time, Dr. Carlos. And let's cut to our On the Street correspondent, Daniel Farias.
Hello everyone, we are here at the CSU's Chancellor's office. We're here to cover the student protest. They're protesting the suggested tuition increase. We're gonna go in there, we're gonna find out why they're so mad, why they're chanting, why they're yelling, why they're doing whatever they're doing. Let's do it, come on, let's go, come on, hurry up, let's go. Come with me, come, please.
Hi, I'm Sophia,
Sophia, what school do you go to?
Cal State Long Beach.
Go Beach. Brent, why are you out here?
Because I think it's ridiculous that the administration, these fat, rich white guys, they decide to continue to undermine the ability of average person to get a better life and to get a college degree, which, supposedly that helps you to compete in the global labor force.
Why are you here? What are your thoughts?
My thought is I'm a concerned student that my tuition and the tuition of all my fellow brothers and sisters out here, our tuition's going to go up even before the budget has been finalized by the state. So they don't even know if they need this tuition increase yet.
We're here to protest the tuition increase that the Board of Trustees of CSU system are trying to raise. We feel like it's not fair to students. A lot of students are struggling.
You're hogging up my mic time here. Why don't we Before we go into any more questions, I have to ask you, where can I get those little hand clapping thingies? The black and white things? Where can I get that? Can I get one of those? You said that you were inside. What was it like? What was happening?
Well, it was a very emotional and kind of like, you kind of know what was going to be the outcome of it.
Are there no more?
And
What was the outcome, if I may ask?
well, it's pretty, there.
God damn it! So our tuition has been raised.
Hey, we're broke.
Yes! 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 Awesome.
It's a one-size-fits-all policy that takes your money, and that's not fair.
The administration wants more of our money. That's all there is to it, really.
Money, 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 money! Money! So, Paula, you said that you have 2 jobs, right?
Yes, I do have 2 jobs.
Well, here, since they raised our tuition, which is super cool, why don't I give you more jobs? Here.
Hey, that sounds ecstatic.
All right. So this is a job application to Yogurtland. That's pretty good. I think you get free yogurt.
If O.J. Simpson didn't murder his wife, he knows who did.
What's so bad about us giving them our money? If they're educating us, why don't we give them more money? Why don't we give them all the money in the world? They'll teach me everything.
There's a lot of conspiracy theories about how the cartel might have been involved in the Colombian necktie, but people make light of stuff that's not funny.
Here's a job application to Arby's. That's for you. I think sooner or later you'll have like a law professor teaching fencing or something, and soon like court battles will be fought like instead of litigation, they'll have like fencing battles in the court. I'm just waiting for that to happen.
So it's actually been proven through research that whenever they raise tuition on students, most of it goes to...
Okay, I'm a little bored. I'm going to go to you. So if you apply to all those jobs, you'll have like 9 jobs, and then you'll be able to pay for your tuition, right?
Definitely.
I want them to pay me instead.
Pay you? Oh, I'd love to get paid.
Enough already.
Oh. I got this. I stole this. Shh. Yay! More jobs. Oh. Okay. I got a clapper. I got a clapper. I got a clapper. I got a clapper. I got a clapper.
We're here to get a good education, a good quality education, which is like our main priority in California. Like, come on, we're California.
Wait. You want it to be good, and you want it to be of quality.
Because when you have somebody that's heavily in debt that keeps getting more and more and more, you have a slave.
Yeah, I mean, that's what education
I think that's too much. I think you're asking for way too much there. You can't have it be good, and can't have it be of quality. You have to have one or the two. So what is it? Do you want it to be good, or do you want it to be of quality?
Isn't it kind of the same thing?
Well, that's it for here, Victor. Back to you at the studio.
Let's get back to understanding what the highlights and implications of the graduation initiative are and how this will benefit the students who are inevitably at the mercy of paying for it. Looking at Cal State Long Beach's draft student success plan for the graduation initiative, which highlights short-term and long-term goals of initiative implementation at the university, we see the breakdown. The following actions are prioritized: organizations of task forces for student success, strategic advising with e-advising tools, and eliminating bottleneck courses, to name a few. If you're thinking that most of what I just said sounds like fluffed up cotton candy sprinkled bullshit, well then that's because you're right. I mean seriously, the university intends to create several task forces which will seek to collect data in order to better understand the issues faced by students. To highlight a few: reimagining the first year of college, time to degree, diversity and support services, strategic advising, faculty development, research and evaluation. The last time we were forced to care this much about task forces was during Coney 2012. Yeah. Luckily, we all shared that one video a million times and now nothing is wrong in Uganda. Yeah. But seriously, if we actually look at the Coney 2012 movement, we can't really argue with the evidence. Don't hate the playa, hate the game. Yeah. So we're paying for a team of researchers to grab their handy-dandy magnifying glass and look into what the problem with graduation rates are. Okay, does anybody see what's wrong with that, or why it seems kind of absurd? I mean, the Task Force on Diversity and Support Services, what exactly is that supposed to be doing? Are they a militarized group that now invades Cal State Long Beach, making sure that...
What's the ethnicity of your father?
Yeah, he's white.
And your mother? What is she?
She's a Mexican immigrant.
Everything seems to add up. You have a good day, son. Stay safe out there.
Okay. Overall, the initiative is invested in providing $2.3 million towards student success proposals approved by the task forces each year. They emphasize data-driven approaches to student success. The idea of getting kids in and getting kids out as timely and as efficiently as possible looks great for numbers, financially for administrative pockets and the job force. However, this method of sheep herding students through a course or a program as quickly as possible neglects many other purposeful aspects of higher education. Yes, your infant needs to eat, drink, and sleep, but if you forget to teach them other things like morality or how to play nice with other kids, they'll grow up a bit in the head. Additionally, this plan of increasing the demands of students and urging for timely graduation may be physically and or mentally impossible. Those who rely on one or even two part-time jobs or who work full-time to afford rent, food, and their education, or students who balance a job, club work, and internships will be faced with more stress. CSULB recommends that students spend, on average, 2 hours of preparation and study for each hour of class time. So, thus, a 3-unit course normally demands a commitment of 9 hours per week over the semester, with the class meeting for 3 hours a week. Therefore, 15 units or a full-time student is taking 5 classes and expected to commit 30 hours a week to studying on top of their 15 hours of class time, which makes a total of 45 hours a week. Now let's add a part-time job with someone who works 20 to 25 hours, which makes the overall commitment to school and work between 65 and 70 hours a week, ideally. Keep in mind, this excludes any extracurriculars or club activities that many students additionally engage in. At this point, the Board of Trustees expects us to be more efficient with our time. Like instead of eating, we should just attach an IV drip to us while we sleep. Or we could just eat our meals on the toilet. Arby's. It's pretty close to shit anyways. In the same text, CSULB recommends that a student's employment and college time combined should not exceed 60 hours a week. It further advises that students whose outside employment interfere with the normal unit load should reduce their academic program accordingly. First, they tell us to make the time necessary, then they tell us they want us out in 4 years. Can these people make up their minds? The last time I felt this used was the morning after when the Uber arrived before I got my socks on. Why did you leave me, Kevin? I thought what we had was special. First you love me, and now you want to go back to marriage counseling with Cynthia? Screw you, Kevin! Unfortunately, that's just one of the many contradictions in this initiative. The intention is to make the situation easier and more straightforward for students, but it pays no mind to the reality of their situation. The second part I want to get to is this one portion of the initiative that actually looks somewhat appealing and is relevant to the concerns and issues students face at CSUs: eliminating bottleneck courses. What is a bottleneck course? Well, I'm glad you asked. Imagine that I'm a student trying to get my diploma, represented by this piece of paper. But the class I need to get has limited seats, represented by this small hole. And this is me every semester until I get that one f***ing class. On the surface, the obvious solution is to hire more professors in teaching positions to increase class offerings, but there are no references in the CSULB rough plan that indicate actions to be implemented. Rather than employ new teaching positions, the initiative seeks to improve the online degree planner and other tools that map out the degree progress and completion and adjust the path undergraduates must follow to complete their bachelor's so that there are no longer courses that significantly hinder further enrollment. That will go on the list of things that I will never use, right below anal beads and right above my communications degree. So even this alluring aspect merely grazes deep. And that's what this initiative is, a means of fabricating a greater surface image for universities and colleges of California as a selling point to allude to the great success of higher education. Like the way Kevin alluded to me, his promise of fulfilling life in the back seat of his red convertible car. But then you meet him and you spend time with him and you realize that he's just like the rest of them. He wants you to pay. He expects you to pay. He's cheap and he wants you out as quickly as he came in. The reality is graduation rates do not tell half of the story of what a successful and quality higher education means to students. College is about preparing young adults for the challenges and freedoms of the real world with the goal of becoming a self-sufficient individual who can contribute to the workforce and to society in general. The only problem is that when you commit excessively to increasing graduation rates and attempt to propel students through the system as fast as possible, the overall development of each student is compromised. it cuts students off from being able to develop their hobbies, passions, worldviews, and interests, so that when they graduate to be successful, they have an understanding for what works and what doesn't for them. And if for some students, achieving this means going to school part-time to focus on club activities, family issues, mental issues, or whatever other hindrance, then that is what the university needs to accept and work with, of course within reason. Obviously, a student who only wants to take 3 units a semester for the next 20 years can't fly. While the graduation initiative is alluring in its desire to push for higher graduation rates and a more efficient schooling system, the benefits do not trickle down to benefit the students who ultimately pay for the changes. This is important in realizing that the objectives of administration have become so skewed that ultimately a greater value is placed on the image of the school than on the quality of the education the students are receiving. Their focus should be on getting students to graduate, period, not graduating as fast and as timely as possible. Moving forward, it is important to voice what is working and what isn't in regards to this 8-year initiative. I mean, for f***'s sake, they're employing quite a few task forces, so getting our voices out shouldn't be too difficult. And to the students who are going to be affected financially and developmentally, I urge you not to give up on the prospect of higher education. There are many outlets available for you to ease this transition and to focus on alternative methods of achieving your goals. And even if you won't be affected by this initiative, realize that you can never know what others are going through and what barriers they may be facing. You know, we've had a lot of fun tonight. I guess I just want to leave everyone with some parting words. Dig deep into the pockets of your souls, for your fellow brothers and sisters in CSU are in need of your services. For the Lord Almighty Jerry Brown has failed so many of them. Let's take for example this poor soul here. What financial ailment ails you, my sister?
All I've been eating is ramen for the past 8 months. I just care for some real food.
Let us as a community help this helpless soul find everlasting happiness in the form of a cheeseburger. The power of Jerry Brown has penetrated their supple body. Who else would like to be cured of their financial woes? And how can the holy dollar help you, sister?
I couldn't buy it in my textbook, so I failed my midterms.
Let us as a community, won't the almighty Jerry Brown save this poor soul? Let the dollar cure you of your inability to study. Let the Reverend save one more soul today.
I need to hire a new model for my painting project.
Let's all bow our heads and pray over this poor, pathetic art student, and hopefully he can find money in this cruel, horrible world. To everyone in the audience, we may have saved 3 souls today, but you can save countless souls from the devil of unemployment. Don't dig deep into your pockets, but rather your souls for time to call this number. They are willing to answer you day or night. And even if they are not willing, call them anyway and bug the shit out of them. Let us all bow our heads and end this prayer with an Amen. That's it for tonight, 49ers. Make sure to contact the CSU Board of Trustees and bug the shit out of them about this wage increase. But for now, I'll see you next time on Late Night Long Beach.